Hi, I'm Brian from Atomic-Moto, and I'm here to do a review of the Forma Terrain TX Enduro boots. This boot has been around since 2009, about the time that we were starting this company, Atomic-Moto, and I reviewed it a few times. Most recently was back in 2015. Now, I rode with it a bunch in the past, but in the last few years, I've handled them a bunch, tried them on from time to time, but I haven't really taken a pair out on the bike, and so I decided it was time to do that. So I pulled them off the shelf and went on a nice long 77-mile ride yesterday, a varying bunch of conditions. I'll get to that a little bit later, but first, let me start with the basics. This boot retails for $299 as of the filming of this video. It comes in this one color, and it weighs 4.04 pounds for this size 46. We actually put a size 45 on the scale, and it weighed 4.03 pounds, about the same. That puts it at the lower end of the range for most off-road boots. And the Terrain TX is made in Romania. Let's dive into the construction of the Terrain Enduro. The name of the game on this boot is its simplicity. We did a parts count, a pieces count on this boot, and the entire external structure of this boot is 12 pieces, 6 plastic pieces and 6 PVC pieces. Now, I'm not counting the gaiter and I'm not counting the buckles, but that's a pretty good, pretty efficient way to construct the boot. Let me talk first about the plastics. There is an extensive network of plastic on this boot, and they're pretty firm, and that's a good thing. Plastic, of course, on the toe area, extending around the inner side of the foot and ankle. This is a normal piece, typical on just about every kind of boot. A big heel counter on the rear. It sticks out a little bit. It's nice and firm. Plastic around the outer side of the foot, so the entire lower foot is in very, very firm plastic. Really good crush protection. Mechanical hinge. Say it over and over again. We love boots that have a mechanical hinge. This is one of the first ones all the way back in 2009 to have it. It is a very simple single pivot mechanical hinge on the inner and the outer side, and it's got pretty good flex. I'm going to show you what that looks like, and I also have some detail shots that I'm going to drop in of it. Pretty good mechanical flex on this boot. A very big, hard shin plate, and then a nice calf protector on the rear of the boot. It has a silicone burn guard, nice big one here on the inside of the boot. And then it's padded in and around the ankle, not as extensively as some other models, but it's pretty well placed. The padding starts right about here in line with this buckle, and it runs down, not all the way down to the heel. It thins out a little bit from about this logo down. That makes a nice heel cup, and it's pretty thick in this area, wrapping around the back and then around the inside of the boot. There is not a lot of padding in the toe area, and in fact, if you put your foot in the boot and you lift your toes up, you can kind of feel the hardness of the plastic. But there is a good amount of padding in the ankle area to support you. The buckles are an upgraded version of Forma's typical buckle. They have a little lever extension here, which you can see is spring-loaded. I'll try to hold that up so you can get a good look at it. That's spring-loaded, and it allows you to get your finger under it with gloves a little bit more easily. These boots are pretty dusty, and so they really could use a little bit of WD-40, but they're pretty easy to operate. The straps on the Forma boots are easily adjustable, and they're easily replaceable. Both the buckles and the straps are easily replaceable. They're inexpensive if you need to do so, and they almost never break, so I doubt you would ever have to do so. And then one of the most important things of the boot is that it has a stitched-on welt sole. That is the type of construction that we prefer at Atomic-Moto. It is much firmer. You cannot bend the toe of this boot. That means if you get a frontal impact, it's much more supportive and protective. And the Forma Terrain Enduro has, boom, a lugged sole, a lugged pattern. And this is a proprietary pattern that Forma developed on their own. It's not, for example, like a Vibram sole that you get on a hiking boot. It is their lugged sole pattern. It doesn't have a lot of aggressive lugging, but there is a good amount of stuff on there for when you're hiking and walking off of the bike. Time to talk about the fit of the Forma Terrain Enduro. Now, Forma boots in general run wide, and this one is no exception. The forefoot has a decent amount of width. I'll hold it out there for you to see. It also has a little bit of extra vertical height, which is a nice thing. A little bit of vertical volume is almost analogous to extra width. It just gives your forefoot a little bit of extra room for your toes to move in. And so it's beneficial for people that need a wider fit boot. And said in another way, it's not just wide, but has a little bit of extra height in it, and that helps accommodate wider feet. If there's anything about the fit that is worth mentioning, is that this boot could really use a footbed. Not the one that comes in it is just a thin piece of stamped foam, like most boots, and it's a $300 product, and they put a 50-cent footbed in it. But there was definitely some benefit. There would definitely be some benefit to putting a thicker footbed in that had some extra cupping and cushioning in and around the heel area. So consider that if you're looking at this model. What's the protection like on the Terrain Enduro? Well, I'll break that down into zones. First of all, the crush protection all around the exterior of this boot is very good. The plastic is really firm. There's padding in and around the ankle. The toe is super hard. If something lands on your toe, like a motorcycle, it's going to be really unusual if anything happens to it, because the crush protection on this is really good. The frontal zone protection, the midsole stiffness on this is also really excellent. So I would say overall, I would rate this as slightly above average for protection compared to other boots in the class. I've got a lot of opinions and I love to share them, so let me share my opinion of the Terrain Enduro boot. Now, first of all, I like boots with welt soles. It's a better, more high quality, more durable way of constructing a boot. They're easier to be resoled. You can find far more places to do it. You can use lots of different types of sole if you'd like. You can switch to a motocross sole. You can use a more lugged enduro sole, etc. They're much more protective. That's a good thing. There is an industry trend toward making bonded sole boots. I'm going to resist that as long as I can, and I encourage you to do so also, because I think that these are a better way of making a product. Second thing is, this boot has a mechanical hinge. It's super durable. It fits really nice. It's got really good protection, and it comes in at under $300. $299 for the enduro version that you see here, $279 for the motocross version. And that's a pretty smoking deal. There really aren't any other mechanically hinged boots from serious players in the boot market that make a high quality product. There's some stuff out there, but it's product that I really don't think is worth mentioning. But there really isn't anything that has this level of features at this price point. And that is because Forma is a smaller, more nimble, younger, more aggressive company. They bring more value typically to any given price point. And this one is really one that you should take a hard look at. Now, like I said, again, we're going to do a comparison with some other models, but this one is certainly worth a hard look. So with that, it's time to wrap this video up. We are Atomic-Moto, www.atomic-moto.com, home of the bombers, mission focused on finding great product, analyzing it, using it out in the field, shooting videos of it, and putting them out there to help you make your decision. We have a great YouTube channel. We'd love it if you clicked like on this video. We'd love it if you shared it with your friends, and we would love it if you click subscribe for future videos. And like I always say at the end of every video, we hope to see you out on your bike.